But I thought he was like a half a step.
We're live.
Okay, relax.
All right. Can I have a roll call, please?
Thomas Callahan. Rupert Friday.
Present.
Jerry Brunetto.
Present.
Dr. O'Neill.
Present.
Mark Brady.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, you have 4 members present. You have a quorum.
All right. Any administrative matters that I know of? Jill, do we have any administrative matters that I'm supposed to know of?
No.
Thank you. All right, I leave these to my English teachers. Approval of the minutes, April 16th, 2024.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
move that we approve the minutes of April 16th.
I need a second.
Yeah, wait just a second.
Oops, sorry.
It's April 16th, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, the last page.
I need a second first before we can argue it. We got a second
I
on
just
the
want to
motion?
do a change, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Well, I was going to open the discussion. All right, go ahead, Doc.
Sorry, the last page, F, items for next agenda says, Dr. Neal inquired about potential connection of roadways. There's no potential. Because that the town owns this. The question is making them useful, but it's not a potential. Anyway, my feeling is delete the word.
So just striking the word potential altogether? I'm fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just that
Okay.
word.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Anybody on the board have a problem with that?
Nope.
All right. Any other revisions?
So primary, secondary, and so on, right?
I have a primary, I need a secondary.
Secondary.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. So minutes are moved. All right, so we have 4 site reviews. First one is tax assessors plat I through J, lot 7, 1108 Succotash Road. The applicant is submitting a request to demolish 2 existing separate pre-existing non-conforming dwellings and constructing a single structure 2-family dwelling at the above referenced property. Okay. The staff, issues covering this?
Second.
Issues covering this
Um,
application?
no, there's no issues.
Well, we've got, all right, there was some variances, right?
Yeah, there's some variances.
Yeah, so the variances required for this are...
Sorry, I apologize. No
No,
variances.
no. Special use
Special use
permit for
permits.
coastal resources, special use permit non-conforming in structure, alterations to non-conforming structure, high water table, and special flood hazard claims. Did I miss anything?
No.
Okay.
May I ask
Yep.
a question before we get into it and have them present? At least on these notes that we got, it says, staff requests a new site plan be submitted accurately, reflecting structures on the 2nd floor prior to zoning approval. Well, why isn't that, or has it been upgraded and
Yeah, we just received new plans this evening.
just meaning
The hard copies. We have the digital copy that you'll see up on the screen.
Okay,
All right.
all right. So it is upgraded.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Fire away, sir.
All right.
Thank
Floor
you
is
very
yours,
much.
sir. Please introduce yourself and what your role is.
Yes, of course. Michael Monti on behalf of the applicant, Eventides LLC. As the chairman said, what you have before you tonight is site plan review for 1108 Succotash Road. I'll very briefly summarize the high level of what the project is, and then following what I hope to be my very brief remarks, Jake Watkins of Roger Ferris and Partners, the project architect, will walk the board through a detailed analysis of the site plan. Al Diorio, the registered land surveyor attached to the project, is also here this evening. So if there are more detailed engineering questions that are better suited for him to answer, he'll also step in at that time. So from a very high level, what we have here is a very non-conforming lot. It's less than 7,000 square feet, where 10,000 is required for any use in the R10, and in fact 20,000 square feet is required for 2 families in this zone. The existing conditions are 2 independent single-family structures on this one lot, one having 4 bedrooms, the other having 2, so 6 bedrooms total. One was constructed, I believe, in the 1930s and the other in the 1950s. They've really fallen into disrepair. And the site is located basically across the street from East Matunic Beach. So the proposal is to take down those existing structures which are in a state of disrepair, and in their place construct a single structure which will be a 2-family, one unit having 3 bedrooms, the second unit having 1 bedroom, and the proposal will decrease the nonconformities that exist. So lot coverage will go down, floor area ratio will go down, and we don't have any issues with setbacks. Also, as the chairman said, the reason we come before you is we have a number of zoning requirements we need to meet under various special use permit criteria. We also submitted as part of our zoning package variances for lot coverage and FAR. I don't know if the administrative staff determined that those weren't necessary, but certainly all of the special use permits you cited are on the table. And the board's role in this is to determine whether the zoning board has adequate information to make its decision, to confirm or to determine whether a variance or special use permit will promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the community, as well as the standards that are cited in the memorandum. We think that this project does satisfy all of the criteria in the memorandum. The applicants and owners of the property, unfortunately they're not here tonight. They had a pre-planned vacation. They were gonna be here on the May date, and then I think this got rescheduled. So unfortunately they're not here tonight, but if there are particular questions as we go through it about their intended use of the property, I'm happy to field those questions as well. So without further ado, I'll bring Jacob to walk you through the detailed aspects of the site.
My name is Jake Watkins with Roger Ferris and Partners. I have a handout for the project. I think we also have a presentation too. I think paper sometimes good, right?
Mm-hmm. Would you like the PDF that was submitted to us earlier?
Yeah, I'd love that on the screen. That'd be great. Thank you.
It's almost that thank you.
Do your label and we'll take hers so you can look at it.
Yes, of course.
Course.
So just in general, the site on Succotash Road, Brecka Drive, right at the corner. Highly populated, dense part of the town, a lot of 2-family, multifamily, and single-family homes in the area. This is the existing structure, 2 structures that are there in a little bit of disrepair. The plan is to demolish. We just stay on that slide for a second.
We call it patina.
Patina? Okay, that's good. No treatment for drainage. Cesspool, brick-lined cesspool in complete disrepair. You go to the next slide. These are all part of your package as well. This is the rear property right here, both single-family, both single-story residences, 2 families on the single lot. And the next slide. This is a slide that shows where the setback line is, the front yard, side yard, and the rear yard. The existing building is over the setbacks in all ways, both the side, the rear, and the front. And the next slide. The new proposed home will conform in all ways to the setbacks. The front yard will be pushed back to conform to the 25-foot. Both side yards pushed away from the property line to conform to the 8-foot. And the rear yard also will conform to the 20-foot setback as well. And the next slide. This is a comparison showing how the existing does not conform to the setbacks, and the proposed does, and gives you the exact numbers in each the front and the rear and the side. And the next slide. This shows how the project will become more conforming from a coverage breakdown. There's a total square footage of 2804 square feet for the existing. The proposed will have 2643. And the next slide. This is a slide that shows the floor area of each, the existing residence, a total of 2922. We're making the proposed residence more conforming to 2790. And the next slide. Here we're just showing how the site is encumbered by all the site restrictions, both the FEMA overlay, the coastal resources overlay, and high water table soils overlay. And the next slide. What we want to do first and foremost is raise the structure. We need to make it FEMA compliant. And so the base flood elevation is at an AE 13 elevation. The existing residence is completely under that for both structures. The proposed structure will lift the occupied first floor and the occupied second floor to elevation 17, 5 feet above the 13 base flood elevation line. The lower level will be occupied by garage and storage space. All we're showing here is how the new proposed residence becomes conforming or more conforming in every way. We're conforming to FEMA regulations now. The setbacks are all conforming with the proposed setbacks that I showed. The coverage is becoming more conforming from 2804 to 2643. And the floor area is also becoming more conforming from 2922 to 2790. 5.7% more conforming in the coverage case, and 4.5% more conforming in the floor area. Just to walk through the plans really briefly, this is the lower level. All garage space, off-street parking, storage space on the rear. And the next slide. This is the second level, the main first level of the house. Has a main living space towards the front and an in-law unit, or keeping the two-family existing use that's there now. And then the next floor is the top level, all bedroom space and bathrooms. On the upper level, it serves the front unit. Just an imagery of what the residence will look like, raised up off the street. The main level on the first floor and the second floor, and the in-law unit in the back, and the next level. And this is the side view. Really, the idea is to make it look like one structure. And then these are the site plans that you've already seen as part of your package as well. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Go back, can I see the roof line again? Is that flat?
It's a pitched roof.
It is a picture.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just looking at it from this side.
That's
not
right.
from that side. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Top of the roof is at 35 feet.
There we go.
above grade.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything to present?
No, I think just would love to entertain questions of the board if there are any.
Doc? Dr. O'Neill? Any questions?
No, I think somewhere in the material you mentioned that your neighbors are happy to see that the property is rescued and repaired, et cetera. I don't know if with the height if they're going to be that happy, but you people don't own height. How's the height in front of you?
I believe there are 3 letters of support
Yeah, there are.
for the project.
Yeah.
And there may be some
They
neighbors
were-
here
There you
today.
go.
Yeah.
Jerry?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Rupert?
No questions.
I have a couple. One, I know you got a permit for the on-site,
Wastewater treatment.
yeah, so no issue with the groundwater level there, or you're gonna have to go above ground at all with that? No, okay. Now, I don't see anything with collection for runoff off the building or the property I do see some retention areas which showed up better in this pamphlet, but I don't see any system for it as far as catching runoff off the building and in the site.
There will, if you go to the next slide, and keep going to the site plan probably, and the next one, yeah. So the retention system's at the front of the property here.
Yeah, I saw that.
There'll be a series of drains coming off of the proposed deck areas and roof areas to go to that.
Okay. All right. Staff?
We got nothing.
I have a question for staff.
Sure.
There was a comment in the staff report with regard to a 7-foot apron. It was item number 7 of the following conditions are provided for the consideration review of the proposed driveway is made of pervious material and a 7-foot bituminous apron is constructed along the width of the driveway. Wondering if that is the entire width here, whether that's just a particular turnoff, or whether that is actually something that's narrower than 7 feet or 7 inches maybe. It could be along the entire road.
I defer you on that one.
Sure. The reason for the bituminous apron is for plowing. They don't want to plow your gravel, your shells, or whatever else you're putting out there. It's negotiable. It's really that portion of the project would come through a permit with DPW. You'll need a full permit for any work that you do in the right of way.
Okay.
So if it's different than that, they would issue that at the time of the permit issuance. So what we could do is between here and zoning, go back and get that confirmation with the Department of Public Works.
Okay.
But likely it'll be something along those lines for the plowing.
And we could designate a specific driveway location, maybe along that street.
Your application right now shows that essentially the entire, almost the entire side of Brecca Drive is driveway.
Yeah, it's really this area right here, yeah.
Right, and as I recall, so your OWTS is in the back, is that correct?
That's correct.
And your water table is 0? Is that
I'm not
accurate?
sure what the water
Okay,
is.
so, and it's a Advantic sand filter? So the reason why we ask is because on one of the images you show parking coming in through that back side?
Yeah,
There's no
Additional
parking coming in the backside.
Okay,
No.
okay, so then it is all along Brecca Drive?
That's right.
Okay.
That was my only question.
So that was going to be a redirect of mine because one of your visuals shows parking.
There's a storage in the rear.
I don't know, I saw it somewhere. There's a note to self.
Right there.
It's right there.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
car should-
that's parking. Sorry, but it is.
I don't know if these are part
Well-
of the submittal, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, in truth, Mr. Chairman, we don't think you can get a car back there.
Yeah, I know.
It's a sandbox that
No,
probably
but
sits 10 feet out of the ground.
It might, you might want to delete it because it does bring questions.
That's a really good.
Public, want to add comment? Yeah, please, stand, identify yourself, just so we know who we're talking to.
Sure. You're on TV, so don't tell them
Yeah.
the dirty jokes there.
I'm photogenic anyways.
There you go.
My name is Timothy Mahoney. I grew up in the summertime in East Mattoonic, and I'm the direct abutter to this house. And we lived down there year-round, and we met the O'Briens, very happy to have them for neighbors. You know, we went through a terrible thing with the last people that were there, and thank God they bought it. That's all I can say. But I think the plan is beautiful. My wife thinks it's beautiful, and we're the ones looking at it. So, you know, and they're going to be good neighbors too. So that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
I'm very happy.
Which,
Yep.
a butter on which side?
I'd be on the what side? On the downhill side.
Are you
And on the next
are you in
next lot
Succotash
down.
or the next?
No, I'm on Brecca.
They did north, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, the north
North
side.
side.
Yeah.
So I'm right next to it. And what it's going to do for me also is they're going to put the septic system on the side of the house that is adjacent to me, which will open up the area. I don't know how many feet, how wide is the septic system, 20 feet?
It's about 22 feet to
Yeah,
that.
so they'll be 22 feet away from us, which is even nicer, you know?
Yeah.
So the whole thing looks gorgeous. Yeah, like I said, I've been there my whole life, and now we're year-round, so we love the place.
Nice.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah, please.
Hi, Karen Francescan. I live in Jerusalem as well, 4 Champlain Avenue. I used to live right next door to Carla and Eric. I've known them for 20 years, wonderful neighbors. I think the plans are beautiful. We need more of these beautiful homes in that area. Those 2 dilapidated homes are just, I'm sure, very difficult to look at on a regular basis, but it's, you know, breathing new life into the area. They're always around. They're wonderful for the community. They're great neighbors, so hopefully we'll see this come into life soon.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? You guys have anything you want to add?
No, we don't have anything further.
Doc, redirect?
Yep. No.
You all set?
I
Jerry, redirect? Questions?
Oh, good, thank you. Thought you were asking me to move it.
I'm good, you're all set. Okay, so we don't make a decision here, it's a review. You have a grocery store list of requests to the zoning board, we're gonna have to take that up with them, but we'll vote favorably to the vote or not. Do I have a motion on the floor for tax assessors plat
Complete?
IJ lot 7? We have to go for complete, Joe?
Completeness?
Yes, completeness and conformance, please.
Yeah.
So move the application before us, Seven Tides LLC, tax assessor plat IJ, lot 7, is complete and in conformance with the town comprehensive plan.
Seconded on the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Unanimous.
On the,
Mr. Chairman, with respect to the motion on the recommendation to the board, perhaps the condition in the memorandum relative to the apron could be revised to an amount to be determined with the Department of Public Works. Would that be, I just don't know if once it gets locked in on the condition list that.
It's a recommendation.
It's a
from Mrs.
recommendation. We
Bustamante,
just recommend.
So we can do that research between then and now if you're comfortable with that. This is the standard condition. You can come back and
Okay.
change it, zoning.
Great, thank you.
So,
move the application before us, Seven Tides LLC, tax assessor plat IJ, lot 7, positively, with the comments, recommendations, staff's correspondence dated May 21st, 2024.
that includes page 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
The whole schmear.
Yes, ma'am. Gentlemen, you agree with obviously that you're going to negotiate, or just try to negotiate the apron on the thing. Do you have any objection to any of the other conditions as specified by the staff?
No, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
All right. So I have a motion, seconded.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous? Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you for your time.
Mike, we'll talk to DPW.
Great, thank you very much.
Rather than the pieces of
Yeah, nice presentation, thank you. Yeah,
It's,
This is correspondence with Joseph O'Neill.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, makes no, yeah, makes no legal difference.
Takes no, okay, no, I just don't want any legal.
No.
Somebody saying.
Yeah, you're on the hook for this. Let's wait until the door shuts. All right. So,
I'm looking forward to the full time.
we have a second, again, this is just a review and recommendation to the zoning board. Lakeview Realty LLC, tax assessor plat M, 167 lot 72, 4-lane 2, Breakwater Village. The applicant is submitted a request to demolish the existing 2-bedroom dwelling with a left side yard deck and construct a 3-bedroom dwelling with a rear yard deck at the above referenced property. The proposed project requires relief from Breakwater Village Special District, section 4.8.1. So I also have here, that was it, okay. And I also believe we have a variance for dimensional relief, height of 1 foot. Staff, am I missing anything?
Nope.
Okay. Would you like to present?
Yes,
Let
my
us know
name
who
is
you are.
Jeff Brannon, JB Custom Homes. I'm representing Kristen Magid, Lakeview Realty. First off, I spoke with Ryan, and I'm actually not looking for a height variance. That was an error.
Well, if you're a foot over, you're looking for a variance.
But I'm not. That was, I think there's kind of a confusing coincidence. On the plans, the elevation is 27, 28, 30 above sea level, and the height is 28. There was an original house plan submitted with 29 feet. It was revised on and submitted on 1/24/24. The application was submitted mid-March. There was no height non-conformance on my permit building denial. So it was added for some reason, I don't know why.
Did you review this with staff anytime before you came to us?
I made a phone call, I spoke with Ryan, he said it would be, we could strike it at the meeting. I'm a first timer here.
No problem.
But
We're
it's,
pretty,
I don't know why it's on there.
all right.
If you,
So,
if you look at the house plans,
I'm looking for it.
catching up over here.
Elevation to the back.
So it should be the second page shows it. The front and rear elevation.
No, your elevation is in the back, the clear elevation cut for it.
Okay.
That's what's up there now, I can't read it.
It says 28, Doc.
That's one of them, yep. Front
Yeah, but
elevation.
there's one that has,
What's this right here?
The cross section in the back should have it as well.
it does, and it has it at 28 feet.
Yep. So, there was an original plan that was 29 feet, that was, attached to the portal back in December. So I don't know if when it was getting reviewed, it was just, they checked that plan and not the revised plan, because it kinda, is a long list of attachments, but.
Staff will,
Yeah, so if we reviewed the original plan, and then when we were reached out, there was an error in the report. I went and talked to the building official, and in conversation with the building official, the average grade still remains at about 28 and a foot. So he said, and confirmed that the 28 and a foot is still applicable, so the variance needs to be on our report.
he's the gospel, so
Yeah.
we're a foot out of range here,
Okay.
okay?
So, alright, I spoke with him, it was a three-way conversation with the woman who drafted these plans, and we were all in agreement, so I don't know if maybe he forgot that conversation, so I guess we'll have to revisit that, but, like I said, I spoke with him, we spoke with her, it was a three-way conversation,
Do you have any letter or correspondence from them saying that they concurred with your findings?
I do not, it was not uploaded in the portal, so I do not have that.
All right, so then we will move forward with the one from
Okay.
variance. Okay, so you want to present us?
Yep, so I'm going to, requesting relief with the Breakwater Village special use permit for the construction of a two-story dwelling. I'm just looking to knock down the single-family building that exists now and rebuild the two-bedroom dwelling.
You have not gained that yet?
I have not. Nope. That's what that was the main reason, and that was the only thing that was on the building denial notice originally. And I was under this understanding that this is a pretty common request variance. The proposed site plan conforms to all the setbacks. The building coverage, it's municipal sewer and water. So, yeah, like I said, I'm a first timer here, but I don't know if you guys had any questions for me at all. Pretty straightforward. We just want to knock down the building and put up a two-story. I understand we have to figure out that height issue. I'm still convinced that there isn't an issue with that. I know we have to square that away, but I guess we could get one of them out of the way.
All right. Do you have any date as to when you're going before Breakwater to review this and get their,
Kristen has been dealing with them, and as far as I'm aware, that they have already approved it and they don't have an issue with that. I have
so
a
they would submit something to the,
building and zoning review. I believe this is from them. It's not very official, but it is okayed and signed.
staff, did we get anything from Breakwater?
Yeah, we received, some of the plans, I believe, were stamped and approved by the Breakwater Village Architect Review as seen in finding I on March 29th, 2023, which also indicated that it was 28 and a foot, and that's why.
I'm sorry, I missed that. It was
Thank you.
28?
It was 28 and a foot in the approved elevation plan from
It
Breakwater.
was 28 and a foot, so it was 29 feet and they approved it?
Sorry, 28 and an inch, or 29, yes, 29. It was, yes,
And they approved it at 29?
Breakwater
Yes.
Village approved that?
At 29? Really?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
After all the effort we went through? Why the hell would they do that?
Do you want to show staff what you have, just to,
Mr. Chairman, if I could just clarify for the board, the
Please.
Breakwater Village, the Breakwater ARC reviews the plans and then they stamp them. The requirement in our zoning ordinance is that the Breakwater Village reviews. The applicant needs to submit, they need to review. If 60 days has gone by and the Breakwater Village has not reviewed, then it's considered an approval. Regardless of whether or not the Breakwater Village approves a plan,
gotcha,
it still comes, if it needs relief, it still comes to the town for the relief.
right.
Oh yeah, I understand that, but you've heard my spiel about this, and you're new, right? So you haven't heard my spiel.
I had a tough act to follow.
No,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
so the reason we worked with Breakwater Village for a long time, to develop all these parameters, you know? And the point I make with everybody is 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, where do you stop? The rule is, right, you seem to be agreeable, well, it's 28, not 29. And so you can tell where I'm coming from. You're not getting 29 here, so.
But I'm not looking for 29.
I know you're not, but just so you're aware of that, yeah.
It's unfortunate that nobody reached out to me on this because, like I said, we had it resolved. We had the 3 conversation. I spoke with everybody, and I was under the impression that it was going to be a non-issue.
So again,
I only-
ours is a recommendation to zoning. You
Yep.
need to take it up with zoning. You can do one of two things. You can lower the foot, and you got 11 foot 3 inches on that second floor. So you can drop it a foot, or you can try to get a variance from them.
I don't think we can lower it. We already lowered one of the floors, and if we lower the roof, we need a variance on the roof pitch as well.
Okay, all right.
And I think that's probably how you guys came up with your numbers. I'm guessing, as a builder, you probably had ceiling heights.
No, so Mr. Chairman, we believe that the height relief was called out as part of the ARC, and it was noted as part of the ARC, and then that it needed approval.
Okay.
I think that's where we found it. Yeah,
Right, that's
Mr. Bonnie's looking for it right now.
All right, so we don't have anything to the counter from the petitioner or from anybody else. So we have the site on record, and if you can update that and get it to staff, that'd be great. But here, we're gonna work with 29 feet. Okay? All right,
Okay. It has been updated, and that's the plans we have.
okay. I'm not
Okay.
gonna argue this.
No,
one.
I hear you. I
Okay?
appreciate it,
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman.
And just tell you how we're gonna go forward, and again, ours is a recommendation to zoning. Okay?
Okay.
You have a period of time between us and zoning to rectify whatever you can.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank
So-
you guys very much.
No, we're not going there.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
I was just-
so we found the notes. The building official flagged it at 29 feet.
25 feet, okay.
But just for the sake of the applicant, we're happy to revisit the new plans that
Yeah.
been submitted, and the variance goes away between
Not to
planning and zoning, that's great.
Right,
Everyone, I think,
Not to worry.
would like that to happen.
yeah, okay. So, again, you can revisit this between now and zoning,
Okay,
all right? And they'll work with you, so,
okay, just reach out to the.
yeah, so, all right?
So the upper level is described as attic?
Yes, I believe it, yeah, just, storage.
What's the height in the center, at the center pitch there?
5'6".
The highest pitch
I got 5'6".
Yeah.
Yeah.
there. Okay, thank you. that's all.
All right,
The other is the foot, you heard me spiel on
yeah,
that. Yeah.
Which I agree with.
okay, all right. Jerry?
No comment.
Rupert?
Yeah, I don't have any comments either.
All right.
Is this person?
Public, are you speaking on this, or? No, I don't, nothing to do with him. Let him go down on his own. He's on his own.
You may want to.
Staff, anything you want to add?
No further comment.
Okay, so based on this elevation, your second floor is 11.3. So if you need to, and I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just saying, if it comes to the point where you need a foot, you can drop that to 10 foot 3 inches, not change the pitch of the roof or the look of the house, really. So you have something there. So I understand what you're saying before is if you have to lower the roof, you change the pitch. And I don't want, the pitch is there for, roofs aren't designed just for hearsay, for look. It is a functional structural calculation. But you can drop that whole line a foot and still have 10 plus clearance on your second floor. So that was really the only thing I had.
I believe both floors are 7.6 ceilings.
You
So that 11.3 would be, half of the house is like a cathedral ceiling.
Okay.
The other half where this attic space above, that ceiling I believe is 7.6. So if we
Okay.
dropped everything, you'd be a lot lower. So it does say 11.3, but that's because part of it's cathedral, and then I believe it's over the bedrooms would be the 7.6 area.
All right. I could. That's the only elevation I could find for that second story, or even the first story. So I got 7.6 for the first floor. From your drawings, it looks like second floor is 11.3. But
Okay.
all right.
And it does show 28 feet on the elevation, and like it on the cross section rather. And I believe the issue, which I will talk to the building official, will get it squared away. I believe the confusion is because if you go to the second page, yes, because you can't get both of those at the same side. You see the elevations 29, 27, and then the other ones are 29 and 30, or 28 and 30. They're averaging those out, and that has nothing to do with the height. That is above sea level. I'm from Barberville. Those numbers would be 400. You know, that's just above sea level. The gentleman before me, those numbers were like 17 and 15 because they're much closer to the water. So those numbers that are being averaged to get that 29 and a foot, or the 28 and a foot, the 29, that's where the numbers are getting pulled from, and that's not accurate at all. It is 28 feet. The original plans submitted were 29 feet, and we dropped the ceiling height in both floors. They were both 8-foot ceilings. We dropped them to 7.6 to make up for that foot. So I know this is a review, so I'll stop.
Yeah. So my recommendation is get all your paperwork,
Yep.
get all your stuff, sit down with the staff. You'll find as a first timer or a second timer or a 15th timer, we're pretty open to discuss it.
Okay. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
So again, this is a recommendation of the zoning board. Do I have a motion on completeness?
Sure. Move the application before us, Lakeview Realty LLC, tax assessor plat M167 lot 72 is complete and in conformance with the town comprehensive plan.
Seconded.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Okay.
And on the motion,
On the motion?
move the application before us, Lakeview Realty LLC, tax assessor plat M167 lot 72, positively on the basis of the staff's notes and recommendations dated May 21st, 2024, specifically the first, number one here, of the comments of the staff, the height of the dwelling is 28 feet.
And we have approval from Breakwater, they did their review, right, so, all right, okay.
And the other comments and recommendations to staff.
So you've read the comments and the recommendations from staff that are in the
I have.
Do you have any problems with those? Obviously, the 28, 29 foot is open to discussion with you, but other than that, any of these other matters?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
terrific.
Erosion control, all that other good stuff. Yep, I read through all that, yep.
Do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Go in peace.
Good luck.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be better next time.
By the way, you did good. You didn't show any fear
All
whatsoever.
right. Thank you very much.
Good night.
All right. Tax assessor's plat, N-G lot 182, 80 Old Pine Road. We have here, the applicant is submitting a request to validate an above-ground pool that was constructed without a permit at the above reference property. The project requires a variance for dimensional relief. The property is also located in the high water table. The dimensional relief is that the pool sits 4 feet into the rear setback. This was also brought in, I understand, as a complaint. That's how the town was aware of it, based on the narrative here,
I believe so, yes.
okay? The party that complained here,
Oh, I didn't complain, I'm the owner.
okay. I was just
Well, you
wondering
could
if the,
complain.
I was wondering if the party that complained was here. All right, just for the record, I live at 7 Fernleaf Trail, which is 2 roads up from you. I never met you, I don't know you, but if you don't believe that I can handle this independently and stuff, I will recuse myself. It's up to you. You comfortable? Okay, all right.
Peaceful.
So,
You're not in the radius, are you?
what's that?
Not
You're not
related.
in the radius. You're not. in
No,
the-
I'm not in the radius or anything, but I'm a true believer that perception is stronger than truth, so I always do this.
Okay.
Bear with me, okay. I'm gonna divert from things and go to staff first. Can you fill us in on this?
Sure. Like you said earlier, what they're doing is they're trying to legalize a pool that was built, I believe, in 2021. That is 4 feet over in their setback. And I believe there was staff received a court summons, and it is now with the building official, and they are trying to seek relief.
Okay. Now, and we've talked about this on the phone, just for the disclosure, there was an alteration to the deck within the last year. But that is in compliance. They have to get a building permit for that, but that's not part of this. And that was determined with your conversations with other staff.
That is correct.
So
And
we're
that,
just focused on the pool and the setback.
Yep, that is what the building official advised.
Okay. Young lady, can you come up and identify yourself and present?
My name's Cecil Santoro, I own the property. I had initially purchased it as our second home in 2020, and then we had to extend it during COVID, and we didn't end up closing until 2021. In that 3-month process, while the previous folks owned it, they gave us a recommendation of a pool company, so I went with the company. I had no idea that it required a permit for an above ground. And the pool got installed. I did not know that there were limits or any of that. And then I ended up having to use the home as a rental, just to subsidize down the road. And I think that's where the complaint had come in from one of the families that had hosted the home. We are actually in the process of getting this approved. I am planning on selling the home within the next few months once this is approved. So I'm being very transparent about it. And we are looking to rent, when we sell it, I will be looking for a family to buy it, just so that there are no renters going into that home. Just because it's at a corner and it's just, you know, what's needed there. Initially, we thought everything would be fine when the building inspector had come, and he noticed after the deck and everything was approved that I should get a site plan, and that's how we realized that we weren't within the limits. So I was told to request an extension, so that's what I did.
Okay. All right. Questions from the board? Dr. O'Neill?
Yeah, it's, I own a pool I'm not against pools.
Thank you, I appreciate
It's above ground pool, it's in the
that.
wrong
It's fully
place.
fenced in yard. It's a
Say what?
corner lot. It's a fenced in yard, it's a corner lot, you know,
Yeah.
so there's only one side of the pool that butts a property.
It violates the rules and regulations in terms of location. So, I don't know about my colleagues, but you probably heard me earlier. Those are the rules and regulations. If it's too close to the property line, it can be moved. It's an above ground. If it was in the ground, I don't know. But it's above ground, it can be moved. It's expensive, but it can be moved. So I can't support a variance because it happens to be put where it happened to be put. So that's me. I'm a hard nose.
Jerry?
No, I feel the same way. I'm not hard-nosed, but I feel the same way back there. 4 feet's a lot. That's it. That's really all I have to say.
Stuart?
So besides the setback, and I agree with my colleagues, I'm confused why the survey doesn't show the deck that's there. I don't know if anybody
have
knows.
no idea on that. I just had it surveyed by one of your town's recommendation people.
Yeah, I mean, he usually does very thorough surveys, and he shows the overhang of the house, but he's not showing the deck, which is surprising
You
to
want to
me.
pick up on that, because I had him drop off the originals too.
Which goes to the lot coverage, which I guess we don't know.
The deck is on everything else that's been submitted. And in conversations with staff, we had long conversations about the deck, so the deck is very aware, everybody's aware, and the building inspector's been out there, so,
And deck has been approved.
yeah. So, okay. I don't know if he just did it in reference to the pool being for profit, I have no idea, but yeah, he's usually pretty thorough. Rob,
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question? I've been here a long time, I've never thought to ask this question. Above ground pool, because it holds water, is treated the same way as an in-ground pool.
Yes, Dr.
In terms of
O'Neill,
water.
yes,
All right, okay, no, just a question.
Okay.
yes, that was a change,
All right.
probably 2016.
Mm-hmm,
Mhm.
okay.
Rupert, anyone? You all set? So we're a recommendation, okay? So you're gonna have to go to zoning, all right? So, you know, in the folder, and your discussion will be, it's a hardship to, that's illegal to move the pool because of the expense. But-
Mr.
but
Chair, if I can
it was-
just stop, if I
yeah.
could just stop. I got a call from George Capello, who's a longtime attorney, and she
Okay.
is represented.
Oh, good, all right. So, I've got a couple problems, not just the setback, but the fact that this came to us through a complaint from another neighbor, so it's impacting somebody else. So I can't budge on it either. So you're gonna have to go to zoning, okay? At least based on the comments that are made here. But you're here, you're by yourself, and I just don't want you to hear that, okay, it's over, this is just the first step, okay? All right. Anybody in the public? Any redirects?
James. James is wise, he's very quiet.
He's trying to duck for cover. Anybody redirects on the board? No? Anything from the staff? Okay. So can I have a motion on,
The application is complete, but I'm not sure it's in conformance with town.
we can do it complete but not conforming?
Yeah. Move the application before us, Cambry, tax assessor plat NG, lot 182 is complete.
Do I have a seconded on that?
Yes. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Unanimous? Do I have a motion on recommendation to zoning?
Move the application before us, Cambry, tax assessor plat NG, lot 182 negatively, with the comments and recommendations of the staff's correspondence dated May 21st, 2024, underscoring the, the first suggested condition is to reduce size. The standards to be met is this the relief, the least relief necessary for hardship? Again, this is not a life and death situation. It's a swimming pool. It's not more than a mere inconvenience. Planning board review, compliance, number 1, number 2, compatibility, certainly number 16, alternatives to the proposed.
I would simply add a friendly amendment, if you would, that hardship is self-induced.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All those in favor? Well, I need a second, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Okay. Good luck. We have tax assessors plat, Y1, lot 256, 21 Betty Hill Road. The applicant is submitting a request to construct a second floor addition, front entryway addition, side staircase addition, rear sundeck addition at the above referenced property. The property requires a variance, a special use permit, coastal resources, overlay district, section 4.4, and a variance for dimensional relief 6.4. Property lies within a special floodplain, flood hazard overlay 4.7. Hello, Council.
Hello, Chair Brady. This
How
is
you
James
been?
Conlon. Good, how are you?
Not bad, thank you.
Great.
All right, you want to take us through this?
Yes, give you a quick overview. Thanks for your time tonight. James Callahan of Callahan & Callahan, 3 Brown Street, Wickford. Here tonight we have Alec and Chantel McShane. Alec is an interesting story. He's a Narragansett native, now lives in Switzerland with his wife Chantel. They purchased this property, they live in Europe, obviously, with their 2 young children now, I think. They were lucky enough to find this property in Harbor Island back in 2019 at 21 Betty Hill Road, as you can see on the photograph. I think Alec hopes to relocate here, if not spend more significant time here as time progresses. It would allow him to spend more time with his family, including his mother Patty, who owns the co-owner of the art studio down the corner of Bowling Rodney, which is very nice. The current structure is 852 square feet. And the lot is very awkward in terms of its shape. I think it's trapezius. I looked that up. But if you go back to the photograph, if you have been down there, it's much smaller than it appears.
Yeah.
It does not. It's awkward in the way it's connected to that house and that house, the driveway. It's just a strange little lot, and that's Harbor Island. So the proposal here is to allow the McShanes to expand to 938 square feet, which is not extraordinary. It would include a new second floor addition, a new stairwell, a small entryway, and an expanded deck. The stairwell would be to the right, which is the north, where a shed currently exists. Just the way the house is constructed and the way the lot is organized, it's hard to fit in the stairwell to allow a second floor access. And additionally, it's in a flood zone, so the first floor cannot be used for any living space. We're asking for a setback of 4.7 feet on the northern side, which is very limited based on the lot size, and also a variance to the water's edge for the deck, which allows some outdoor space. Again, it's a very small house. We were here in 2021 or 20. McShanes testified via Zoom during COVID. Unfortunately, for a variety of factors, they didn't get their construction done. So we're back here again on a similar project. As the staff report notes, I think the deck previous was requested 16 feet. That was reduced to 12 or 13. But anyway, they're asking for 14. I'm not sure if they'll get it, but that's the request. That's basically where we stand.
Dr. O'Neill?
Yeah,
in this area here, this is 4.5 feet or
4.7.
You know the fire code? 5 feet.
Correct.
So how can we give you the variance?
Well, the
The
limit,
fire code.
I mean, the limit for, if it was a modification is 5 feet, we still ask for the variance, there's no prohibition on asking.
You're also adding a second story, so it's not 5 feet, it's 8 feet. With a ladder. You up
Possibly.
So this application is being reviewed, Mr. Callahan, so you're aware as well. This application is being reviewed under the 2023 regulations. Dr. Neal, before the town council approved those specific dimensional components for 2-story or 3-story for substandard lots of record such as this. So those, while it should be duly noted that there's a potential fire issue at 4.5 feet, it's not in the ordinance under which this application is being reviewed.
It's a national fire regulation. How can I sit here and say yes?
What I believe, and I don't want to speak for the fire marshal, I think there's a requirement that under a certain proximity to the setback line, then you're required to construct for a fire rating of an hour or something like that, which would be reviewed by the fire marshal.
You can't get up to the second level. He tries to put a ladder in there. The ladder won't go. The ladder's going to be straight up in the air.
I can't argue with that.
No, I mean, I spent my life trying to prevent tragedy. I can't vote for that. That's just me. I gotta say, my hard nose. Why would they do that? I understand regulation and all that stuff, but these are the fire, these are national fire prevention standards that we're talking here. So I don't know. My colleagues think that's a great idea. Sure, go do it. I can't vote. Sure. But I understand it's a small house and it's I looked at it. They're trying to do what they can do with it.
Not to be too forward, but I think you voted for it last time.
He approved it last time?
I did.
I think it was unanimous. At least we didn't.
Knowing what I just talked about?
I don't know if that was a part of the discussion.
How far back does that go, Jimmy?
41?
You were young and reckless.
Yeah, I was probably up all night then, so.
It was a late night, you're right.
Yeah.
Doc, you set?
Yeah.
Jerry?
Yeah, the only comment I have is there seems to be cobblestone along the driveway. It's so narrow to get in there that I don't think cars, they must have been readily driving on their property and they treated it by putting that cobblestone. That's how I read it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You mean on this side over here?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't been down there in a while, I'm not really sure. But it's proposed permeable pavement, so I'm not sure if they're gonna change that, but whatever requirement.
Yeah, I think there's a tree right there on the left of the driveway that prevents, the adjacent property owner from widening his driveway. My point is, it's just very tight.
It is.
And that's it, that's all I have.
So, Chair, question for staff, and I don't know if it's Ms. Sabo or Steve question. So, reviewing this under the 2023 code, but the variance change at the state level for non-conforming lots, does it apply? Because that was adopted in June? Or I mean,
Yeah, but it wasn't-
side yard setback.
That wasn't that effective January 1?
I don't
Yeah,
know
the
about
sub, yeah, no, it
the
was
non-conforming may have been
the not, that
effective.
was effective January,
Oh,
you
was,
got
okay.
you got the modified, but you can't do the double, you don't get to double, if you have a substandard, to my knowledge, if you have a substandard lot of record and you get the, I'll call it the modifications, because you're a substandard lot of
yeah.
record, I don't think you can then get modifications on the modifications, like 15%
Got it, yeah,
on
yeah,
the.
got it.
So,
Okay.
but with that said, to my knowledge, even though the substandard lot
We're still
issue
there.
took,
Okay.
yeah, took effect January 1st.
So that was the one question. The other question I have for you, Council. So when I look at, this was reviewed and approved by the zoning board in September 23, 2020. It talks about it's for a 2-bedroom property, and this is talking about an OIT for a 3-bedroom property. And then the 2020 zoning board decision also said that the OIT approval was conditioned on 2-bedroom deed restriction on the property. And I'm just confused. Was there a 2-bedroom deed restriction on the property? Was it recorded, or?
I don't know, I have to look into that, I'm not sure.
Because that's the finding from.
Yeah, that's odd, I'm not positive.
It's on page 2 of 5 of the September 23rd, 2020 zoning board decision. And then your narrative talks about 3 bedrooms. So that was confusing to me. Don't know if there's a new OIT permit, or even if there is, if the old one required a deed restriction. I don't know how that. Oh, Ms. Sabo has a
I
hand
happen to
raised.
work on this project this morning. And it took the applicant a little while because the zoning board did approve it with a modification to the rear yard deck in order to, for a reason. And as I recall, the applicant, between the 2-bedroom deed restriction and the stamping of the revised plan where they modified the deck, they went back for a 3-bedroom system for the property. So I believe that the OWTS that we're referring to now is the 3-bedroom system. We were running, our copy's pretty unclear, but I believe there's a note in the previous project file on that. James, I'm not sure if you can find that, but I believe you have a 3-bedroom system because that was a change that occurred after the decision. After the zoning board's decision in 2020, that they came back for the modified system for 3 bedrooms.
So,
And we can confirm, we can certainly
and then
confirm that.
is it accompanied by a deed restriction, I guess is the other question. So.
Oh, I don't know that. It would be written on
Anyhow.
the,
I can't read it.
yeah, sometimes the copies we get are pretty illegible.
Yeah.
Do you have the deed in there, Jimmy?
No, I don't, I didn't, I wasn't aware.
Yeah, so normally the deed restrictions that are done because of ISDS deed restrictions, there's usually additional language that says 2 things. One is if it gets hooked up by sewer, deed restriction goes away, and also usually it also says, should additional ISDS approval be granted by DEM, then that the restriction would be modified.
Okay.
So that's what it usually says, but without seeing the deed, I don't want to.
Anyhow, those were things that caught my attention. And then my other question, sort of related to my colleague's comments about the closeness to the property line. If there's been any correspondence with the neighbor to that side, the right side, because it seems really tight to their house.
It is, we had no objections back in 2021, and we'll obviously send out any notices required, so they've had no issues with that.
Yeah. That's it, Chairman.
Okay. Anything from the staff you want to add?
Nope, no further comment.
All right. I had a couple of questions. I think one is just a visual, looking at one of your elevations, one of the cutaway, A4.2.1, and it's just got a dotted line staircase. I'm presuming that they're indicating on the other side that staircase, that external staircase. But it looks like it's internal. Next one, keep going. So, any more?
Well, I mean, that would.
There's one, it's a side elevation cutaway, but it shows,
What's that number?
yeah, it's not showing up in here. I'm presuming that the cutaway was done and it's dotted, so it's an invisible line. So I'm just presuming it's the stair house on the side. Okay, my question for this was, is it feasible, and just from looking at the lot, I couldn't tell exactly because it was kind of busy. Can you flip the floor plan and put that staircase on the other side of the house and give yourself some more relief that way?
I recall they did attempt to,
Just visually, it looks like it's deeper. I don't know if it is or not.
I think the issue there was the septic is on that side.
Oh, okay.
Septic's over there in the
Yep.
driveway. I think that's the issue.
All
We
right, that
did
makes
try
sense.
to figure out a way.
I got you. Okay. All right. Do you want to add anything?
No, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have one quick question.
Yeah, I'm going to go
Oh, are we in
through.
order?
Doc? Nope. Jerry?
Are you removing that shed or moving it? Removing. That's it.
Doc? Rupert?
No.
Nothing? Okay. So I need a motion. Again, this is a recommendation to zoning. I need a motion on completeness.
Take it away, guys. You know where I'm going.
So,
You can read me, right?
I move project summary for McShane tax assessor plat Y-1 lot 256, 21 Betty Hill Road is complete.
Compliance?
Yeah, in compliance with the comprehensive plan.
Okay. Do I have a seconded?
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
All right. Can I have the hands on that?
Is this for completeness?
No, we got past that.
We got past it.
That's
Yeah, no, this is for completeness.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
completeness.
All those in favor of
Completeness.
Completeness?
Yeah,
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. All right. Now I need a motion, recommendation to the planning board, to the zoning board.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, was that, what about conformance? That was
Yes.
just completeness?
No, completeness and conformance.
Okay, thank you. And what was the vote?
Unanimous. In favor. I need a motion on the project itself, recommendation to the planning board, to the zoning board. Somebody's gotta make it, because I can't.
So, I move the project before us, McShane tax assessor plat Y-1 lot 256, 21 Betty Hill Road, negatively. Because of the closeness of the right side on the variance. And it's not compliance with the applicable development performance standards. And there are available alternatives to proposed project.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right. It's a negative recommendation, unanimous to the zoning board. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.
Good, James.
Good to see you.
You too. Don't stay too late.
Okay, reports from staff, boards, assistant town solicitor.
Yes, so, one of Mike's, all for all intents and purposes, his last report to you is regarding the roadway connections between plats and neighborhoods, which I believe you discussed last month. And this was a concern of Dr. O'Neill, so Mr. DeLuca provided a report here which lays out the background and the activities. So we took a look at the 4 locations. So the first one here is the first one referenced in the report, which was the one that Dr. O'Neill had. This, if you could, Ryan, could you just go one? Thank you. So that is the location that was referenced, and this was the street. Dr. O'Neill, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is this the street you had a specific situation with, where you were blocked on the street or couldn't get in or out? I think that's what the report refers to.
Yep.
Okay. So this is the proposed location. That is, it's town-owned property, both of those little dots right there. But the recommendation in this report is to take these one at a time, and you may want to do that. Take each one of these one at a time and then make your recommendation. Some of them you may want to recommend to move on, some of them you may not want to, or may require work ahead of time. So this is that first one you can see, which is connects those 2 roads right there. I believe that's Riverdale, and I can't see the name of the bottom one.
Meadow Lake.
Thank you, Meadow Lake.
Go ahead. I guess I'm simplistic. We spent time discussing all this at the time these were developed, and for a very good reason, felt there should be a connection. And there was some controversy because of, the people, they didn't want high-speed traffic. Well, it's not the idea of this. And I talked with Mike about it. There's a gate just as you go over the Boston Neck Road, just going over Narrow River to the left. There's a gate there. Everybody seen that on the property?
Mm-hmm.
So, and so that the fire and the police, can get through from property to property, because I don't know whether you go into any one of these properties, but again, I happen to be in Petticompton, when they were doing road work out there and they had to close the road for a while. And they were having umpty on cars stacked up. I was looking at that saying, what if somebody had a heart attack or whatever? Yeah.
Or a baby.
Or a baby, yeah. And they couldn't get in or out. You can't land a helicopter. People say, oh, send a helicopter. Look at that. If anybody knows aerodynamics, you can't land a helicopter. You can't get there. You can't get in and you can't get out. So, or a tree goes down or so the problem is that these haven't been maintained, and I understand the concern of people living in there. We don't want high speed. I understand all high speed traffic, but that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was for emergency, in or out when emergency arises. And if you read the note here, that have to be supported with at least a gravel type of drive, and it would have to be mowed or whatever, maintained. It was never maintained, totally ignored. And now we have a problem, right? Because if you live next to there, it's become your property. And we see that regularly with people who have these right-of-ways and rights to the water and all that kind of stuff. But we own this property. This town owns this property. So the idea that this may be a problem, what's the problem? We own it. And so we're talking about, my thought is, all you're asking for is an emergency in or out there. You're not asking for a roadway. You're not asking for, and if you keep it fairly open, if somebody wants to walk through there from place to place or go out on the Boston Neck Road, I don't, the problem is it was never pursued or never continued in terms of maintenance or support. So now we're stuck with the feeling of the neighborhoods of, well, nobody's died here recently. I know that, but as I've said in this room many times, I watch people die. I watch people in emergencies. You don't have time to talk about. Now what are we gonna do? You know, you gotta act. And if you talk to the fire people or the EMT people or whatever, it's critical, time is critical. So, you know, my strong feeling is, I guess you people understand the town better than I do. First of all, this isn't, as you pointed out, it's not in the budget, so nothing will happen until next year anyway. But why this has to be discussed? It's already been discussed. It was decided, it's a great idea. It's for obviously the benefit of the people living in these areas. They, you know, some used the term hard nose earlier. Some hard noses in there may say, well, I'm there, I don't want it. Well, I understand that. That's you know, people's right to say that. But I don't know why we can't ask them to put this in next year's budget. You know, clear the pathways, put down gravel, and put in those gates so that people don't have to worry about it being misused or abused by people. So that's my spiel.
Chairman?
Jerry?
After looking at that first slide that was up there, I mean, it looks like it's there's a glaring need to use that, to get out of that neighborhood.
You can't get out of the woods.
Exactly.
One of those. There are over 100 houses in there.
I don't know why it hasn't been done, though. Why hasn't it been done? Up to now?
We talked with Mike, he said it just, nobody, you know, they didn't go out and mow it and put down gravel, and they just forgot it. That's all.
Okay, that's all I have.
Rupert?
Chairman, so I agree with Dr. O'Neill's premise, and actually when I was in my master's degree in planning in 1988, a few years back, I had a professor who was doing a lot of research on cul-de-sacs and road issues like this. And his research found that it not only was a safety issue, it also was a cost issue for the municipalities as far as maintaining roads, not having the roads connected. And it was a cost factor for even the post office. It's costs more to run mail routes because of cul-de-sacs and the road's not through.
Right.
So, but I mean, the idea of a gate with a key, if you have a hurricane or something, I think it should be there. I think it should be relevant. So, from a planning perspective, I think that's the way to go.
And those points were discussed in terms of the post office and the kids going from point to point down there. But as was pointed out, but then you have, you know, the rental properties and the university kids, you know, maybe using them for cut-throughs. That's why the thought was, well, you can put the gates up, you can still get around them. The gravel usually goes out a little further than the gates. It has to be, what, 18, 20 feet for the fire engines to get through and all that. It just fell through the cracks.
Yeah, I mean, in my neighborhood, we have some right-of-ways that don't go through, and everybody in the neighborhood that has a walking route blocks them.
The big issues that I've got in research and what came from the staff and just talking to people in generalities is we assume the worst. It's just human nature. You know, you're going to open it up. Now people are going to come flooding in. I mean, the prime example that I can think of off the top of my head is what the University of Rhode Island did on Route 138. They closed off that access from 138 into Fraternity Circle with emergency posts. So the access is there for fire and stuff, but they're just slotted posts. And I mean, I go by there a lot because I'm on campus a lot, and I've not seen them tampered with or destroyed or anything else. And so I think there's means today to alleviate those concerns, but also have that emergency access. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about emergency access. Now, based on staff notes, you know, each one of these has their own little peculiarities. Crest Drive looks like there's scant records, and we're talking DEM and stuff like that. But I'd like to hear from staff as to feasibility and this is a recommendation would be to, I'm presuming the town manager?
So it would be a recommendation of the town manager. There were 4 sites identified by staff. The first one you just saw. And then, so if we go to the second one, which is Misty River and Indian Trail. There we go. So there's that one as well, right there, which connects to a public right of way. And then if you zoom out on that, okay, so hold on one second. So now you get a little bit of a bigger view. So now if you look, you can see both of those locations in one.
Yeah.
So you would actually be providing a connection to a couple of neighborhoods. So in the upper left-hand corner is that second one, which is the Misty River one.
Yep.
Okay. And then the third location identified was Leanne Drive and Secluded Drive, which is 2 cul-de-sacs that abut each other. Yeah, which is abut each other. So they are rights of way right now that abut each other, so they don't highlight nice like a lot. So I circled them right there. You can see how close they are, and you can pull if in this aerial you can see you pull out and you can connect from both sides to Boston Neck Road. This would be a recommendation, or I should say a recommendation to the town manager, to ask the town manager to pursue avenues to take a look at this, and then you can do each one, and then, then we go to the 4th one, which is Fisherman's Cove, and then whatever your recommendation is on each of those, I can put it into one report that would go to the town manager on what your recommendation is for each of those. So the 4th and final one, you can see right there, connects the neighborhood just to the north of Fisherman's Memorial. It connects it, so this one's a little bit trickier because it connects it to state-owned property. So we have this one, it wouldn't be just a recommendation to the town manager. We'd have to reach out to the property owner, and that connects right there, so you can sort of see that connects to the driveway that runs east and west, just to the north of Fisherman's.
I think what you're hearing from the board is that we're not looking to create public throughways. It's strictly emergency access for fire safety. So you're talking police, DPW, and fire. And based on your notes, none of them found any objection to doing this. And I think the means as far as restricting access, whether it's a gate, whether it's poles that retract or can be moved or whatever, I don't think we have the expertise to decide that, but I think the powers to be do. So I think we'd like to formulate some sort of recommendation to the town manager to pursue it, and pursue it strictly on an emergency access basis, not as through connectors for public traffic.
Okay, is the thought of the board then all of these are under one blanket recommendation to look at all of them for, so like I said, this last one isn't a connection to 2 public rights of way. It's a connection to another property that's not owned by the town.
Well, I think we'd like to pursue these. I think the reality is how we do that, the strategy we wish. I think that's going to be up to town manager and to the staff as to, what's the low-lying fruit, and what may be perceived as priorities over others, because there may be alternative access, or the access has there's alternative access maybe, so it doesn't put it as much of as a priority. But I think we'd like to see as much, and not all of them may be able to be utilized, but I think we'd like to see as much of them as possible.
Yeah, I think the flexibility of the town manager obviously deals with various levels of negative term bureaucracy. So they find that the dealing with the state becomes insurmountable. It's okay. Well, certainly the other 3 then should be pursued.
And my feeling is, if we don't ask,
No, that's, yeah.
they can't tell us no, so.
I compliment you there, yeah.
I think the current director of DEM is a guy that's good to work with, and I think they're dealing with issues like access for fire safety, so I think he may be amenable.
Mr. Chair, should we consider maybe breaking out just Crest Drive and put the other three as, because those seem like no-brainers, and then the state access, the Crest Drive, address that separately, because the state's gonna slow down everything.
Yeah, I don't think, I guess in my mind, I don't see this as one package that they all have to be, so, I think coming from us is like, these are the connectors we'd like to look at, and then leave it to the experts to figure out, okay, which ones do we prioritize, how do we go? And, you know, obviously, we don't want the rest of them to die because we're trying to work on this one. So I don't see them as
Package.
ownership of the whole. I think them three different, it's one proposal with three, 4 different accesses.
Okay.
Does
I
this
think-
make sense?
Yes, it does. I want to just reiterate what I heard, and this is what I'll draft up in the memo, that you'd like you're requesting the town manager to take a look at all 4 of these locations that were presented to you tonight for emergency access only, to be approved to the standards that could support an emergency vehicle, that potentially had a gate and a key for police, fire, and DPW as necessary, and specifically with Site 4 to potentially pursue a conversation with the state-owned property on the next steps.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
Very
Thank you.
So moved.
We should keep her.
Yeah, you're good people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Doctor, you satisfied?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else have any comments they want to add to this? No? All right, hearing none?
Long overdue.
Yeah. D2, legislative updates?
I'm sorry, you need to
Oh,
take
oh,
that
Do you need a
motion?
motion?
Motion and
Oh.
vote, yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to send
So-
recommendation town manager?
So moved as discussed.
All those in favor? Seconded?
I'll second that.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Legislative updates.
Mr. Chairman, before you leave that section there, they're very interesting. And you go back to, it's almost the last page here, way back. This is 1979 memo. And I remember this. The pay for the recording clerk is going to be paid, because we used to have to sign it, the card for the recording clerk, $90 for 20 hours at $4.50 an hour. Wow. Yeah. I don't know that we're any better off today, but I saw that, I got it publicly. They told it.
Mr. Chairman, before we leave this, I'd like to commend Dr. O'Neill for remembering this and noting that this was something that needed to be followed up on so many years later.
Very good.
Thank you.
Because I don't remember what I was doing in 1978.
You weren't born.
No, I was a senior at Penn State. I'm sure I was.
Penn State? I don't know.
Maybe some altered substance, I'm not sure.
Yeah, 1978, I'm not going to revisit. I don't think we have a roadmap there. All right. All right, now I'm going to get to legislative updates. Anything from the staff?
Today, we received an email from one of our fellow planners who tracks all of the bills. And I could go through every one of them and tell you where they are, but probably the important ones are inclusionary zoning. There is no sub-A from the Senate, so it hasn't been scheduled for consideration. And Rupert, by all means, if there's something I'm missing, I know you're on this email as well. Most of these haven't been, there's either no sub-A, so for instance, on the technical amendments to the Subdivision Act, or the moratorium restrictions, there's no sub-A. Probably the other one that's going to be on your radar would be House Bill 7981 sub-A, which is a bill right now requiring by right duplexes in multifamily development and residential is permitted in commercial and industrial zones, or you need to put in an overlay zone and state why you shouldn't have residential in an industrial zone. That is not, there is no Senate companion, it has not been scheduled yet. Tomorrow, the note here says we'll pass tomorrow. So right now, House Bill and Senate Bill, House Bill 7382 sub A and Senate Bill 35 sub A, which is changes to the definition of household to allow one person per bedroom up to 5 unrelated persons living together, goes to the full floor tomorrow and is anticipated for passage.
No doubt. Okay.
Am I missing anything?
No, I think the other bill that I think is pending, and it's not clear where it's gonna go, is accessory dwelling unit legislation. The House passed it, pretty much the same bill they passed last year. The Senate refused to pass the bill that the House passed last year. The Senate has a version of the bill, a different version of the bill that is actually, I think, a pretty good bill. And they have had a hearing on both of them in Senate committee, and so I expect something will happen there. And then the other bill, that the bill changing the floor area ratio so we couldn't count the cellar, the basement.
Yeah, they didn't.
One of them.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
well, yeah.
it's passed the House, but there's no Senate companion, so chances are that bill's not gonna move. But I guess, is it the inclusionary zoning, the one requiring residential in commercial and industrial, created quite a hiccup in the House, and they had 3 different versions, and each version seemed worse than the previous version. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen there.
Thank you. Dynamite, thank you. Staff? Any forethoughts on Monday's?
No, we
schedule?
just wanted to remind you that it's June 24th and not June 18th.
Yep.
And a Monday, not a Tuesday.
And it's a
The Monday
Monday and
meeting.
not a Tuesday.
Yep, and that is our regularly scheduled meeting in the month.
Or June.
Monday, June 24th?
Yep.
Correct.
Could I ask a procedural?
Absolutely.
So, we're required to take 3 hours of training, and I noticed statewide planning has one about running meetings. Do they normally have different trainings during the year or other?
They do, and when I see those, I'll happily forward them. We do run some of the same listservs this Friday, so if you see them as well, please feel
Okay,
free to pass them along.
it just seems like, I know that Andy Tights had done a workshop for the planning board in South Kingston and East Greenwich on all the changes last year that I heard was pretty good, and I don't know if he's gonna do it for statewide planning or not,
I'm not sure.
but.
I know there are other, they do offer statewide also, it used to run out of Grossmart, but statewide offers the 2 training series on building review, writing sound decisions, and writing sound decisions is one more they offer. So those, if for anyone newer on the board, and that also applies to my zoning board, we have a few new folks on the zoning board, which would qualify for the training. But I'll take a look at that. I'll see if I can pull anything
let us
out,
know.
any
I just-
training to discuss on the 24th.
Even, I mean, I would do it again just as an update. I think it's something you learn something about every time you take it.
I just hadn't seen any until that one, and I was wondering.
And it might be good as well because the standards for relief are different
Yeah.
as well. So the
Right.
standards for relief, certainly for zoning, and as you know, we have the subdivisions and things, that there are a lot of changes.
And they're gonna, almost all the bills that passed last year have bills that are gonna pass this year to change what we changed last year.
Of course.
Because
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
they were poorly crafted,
Excuse
and
me.
they're catching all the poorly crafted stuff and fixing it hopefully this year. Keep Steve employed.
From the board?
Yeah, Jill, you may not remember, because you're so young, but we had a meeting at a educational meeting over at the Guild years ago. I remember that. It was, I couldn't believe it was so well attended, North Kings, South. can't think of the last time we had any meetings down this way, educational meeting for the boards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they invited the town council. I think the one meeting I was at, the town council members even there. It was a planning meeting, but it just, yeah, it just, it's obviously more convenient for north, south, whatever, Charleston, even, to go to something at the Guild than it is to go to Providence, so. I am really getting to be a local. I go to Providence, never.
Dr. I'll ask about that, and it may be where if there isn't something in person locally, it may be something virtually.
Yeah.
The South County exception.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That's a goal.
That's good.
You know, you were talking about futuristic way things and advancing concepts, ideas, and I don't know, maybe we can do that. That's a great idea.
Sounds good.
Resumer.
All right. Jared, do you want to add anything?
No, thank you.
Rupert? Anything from the staff?
No.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Seconded, non-debatable, all those in favor?
All right.
Unanimous. We are off.